Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nick here and welcome to my review of Marco Polo, the fourth Doctor Who story and the fourth story from season 1, and also the first story to A, have missing episodes and B, be completely missing. Yes, all 7 episodes of this story are missing, although there is rumours episode 5 exists. But at the time of recording on the 28th of August 2018, all 7 episodes of this story are missing. Thank God for fan reconstructions on the internet. And in May and June, I took to Dailymotion to watch fan reconstructions of the missing episodes with the DVDs with the surviving episodes on them to watch them, mainly Lost in Time. In fact, I think it was only Lost in Time plus the Galaxy 4 episode from the Aztec Special Edition DVD. And these were... I only did the ones that haven't got official BBC reconstructions or reanimations. But now we're going in order of the stories. We're going to be going through them all over again. We're going to be doing every single story. So that includes all of the fan reconstructions, besides the ones that have the stories that have the official BBC ones. For these missing episodes, the official BBC ones will cover the ones that will cover those stories that we'll get to. So, for example, The Reign of Terror, which we'll get to soon, has BBC animated episodes, so we'll be watching the animated episodes for that story. However, Marco Polo will be using the fan reconstructions from Dailymotion. And yeah, also I had the benefit of watching this version in colour. Well, the channel I watched Marco Polo on didn't have the black and white versions of parts 1 and 2. So if I wanted to watch the entire story, I'd have to watch in colour. But only parts 3 to 7 are in black and white. But I'm sure black and white would have been fine, but I think colour actually works better for this story. As Invention of Space and Time says, Verity Lambert wanted the show to be in colour because it would show off the sets and the costumes and the setting. So the plot is the Doctor and his friends arrive in China, where they meet Marco Polo and Tigana the Warlord, and they have to travel with them to meet Kublai Khan, the Emperor of Cathay, or China as we know it now, because Marco Polo wants to give them their caravan, the TARDIS, as a gift. And so the first 5 episodes or so is trying to get away from Marco Polo, trying to find a way to get away from him and get the TARDIS and go, but failing every single time. Whilst Tigana is trying to plot the Khan's death, and they just travel. Most of the episodes are them just resting and doing stuff. We don't really see much of them travelling, which is pretty good. It's mostly the rest stops and them just doing stuff whilst there. Stuff gets more interesting around episode 6. Episode 5 when the messenger arrives, and then episode 6 when they actually get to the palace, and then they go off to the summer palace to actually have some interesting stuff. Well, there's interesting stuff across the story, but most of the interesting stuff is in parts 5 to 7, especially 6 and 7 when they're at the palace. But there is still some slow bits that slow the episode down, and eventually when it has to wrap up, it has to do it very quickly. In fact, the TARDIS crew leave like probably the fastest they've ever left, at least at this point in the series. But yeah, so it's very taking its time, and then it just wraps up quickly, probably even more so than the Daleks in places. I will say this, the fact that they do go to different locations per every episode for the most parts, is very good and helps move the flow of the story along, particularly in the middle, when it's starting to get a bit slow, because the first couple of episodes are slow, and then it gets to get a bit slower, and then it picks up a bit to get when it's on its way to... They're on the way to the Summer Palace. I like Mark Eden as Marco Polo, but my god, does Marco Polo shout a lot. And he's cross about half the episode he's cross or angry with something someone does, usually the four main characters. And I don't know, Mark Eden just seems to display anger very well, but at the same time it gets a bit jarring, especially towards the second half. And to garner the Warlord can get a bit annoying, being, oh, they're evil spirits! Oh, shut up, dude. The fact he's probably just going on about it because they've got the magic box, or because he wants to disguise his own means of whatever's happening. Oh, dude. He's not a great villain. He's a good villain for the story, but as a villain for the show, he's pretty weak. I'm actually glad he actually impales himself with a sword at the end. Saved the embarrassment of being executed. So, yeah. Yeah. Also, I do like Ping Cho as well. She's nice. She's okay. And, yeah. And I'm actually glad that she doesn't cry about marrying a man 3-4 times her age much. She does a few times, but she doesn't cry about it all the bloody time, which is something one may worry about if one knew about such a thing before going into the episode. But actually it's pretty well done, and I think the actress does a well done job as well. As does the mighty Kublai Khan. He is very good. I mean, he's a bit, grumpy, so-and-so, your typical powerful man who deserves or demands respect to begin with, and then he becomes a bit more of a fun, entertaining old man. Someone you would like to play a game with. The Doctor plays a game with him at one point. He's actually a very nice character. I like Kublai Khan. Yeah. And there's some funny moments across the episode, but most of it is a bit slow. I suppose it's the fact we can't visually properly see it. It's basically pictures and soundtrack. However, even if it was shown, if the episodes were surviving, I don't know if it'd be as better paced. I mean, some of these missing episodes probably would be better if we could actually see them, but hey-ho. Yeah, thank God the next story wasn't wiped from the archives. Apart from the fact it's a very good story, I don't think it would work as well without all of its visuals. Same for the previous 3 stories, maybe not the cavemen episodes, but the first episode of Unearthed Child, most of the Daleks and all of the Edge of Destruction would definitely suffer from being missing. And I think this episode does as well. I think all of them do, but this one particularly suffers from being missing, especially as all of it's gone. But what it is, it's a good story. There is also this one character I want to quickly mention. It's this kind of travel guy, shop owner from episodes 5 and 6. He's very over the top and like, no, that's not right. Darn it. But he's the guy who, in episode 6, he tells Pincho she basically gave her money to a thief, in a way, a scammer, who turns out to be the TARDIS thief. TARDIS thief. I think it's episode 6. Episode 6, and he's also in episode 5. He's quite an over-the-top performance. So, yeah. But overall, this is a good story. So I'm going to give Marco Polo an 8 out of 10. Yeah, Marco Polo. It's a very good story. If you've been watching these reviews, you'd notice that all of the first 4 stories are 8 out of 10s. So they're just good. They're very good in places. There is some kind of variety, I promise you that. There is a little bit of variety between the episodes, which one's slightly more good, which one's slightly less good. That I'm going to do a mini ranking at the end of the Reign of Terror video. Or a very short mini ranking on its own afterwards. But yeah, you'll see where I put my 8 out of 10s in order of least favourite to favourite 8 out of 10s. Yeah, this is still a very good story though. Stay tuned for the next story that I will be reviewing, which will be the 5th story of Season 1, and I think it's going to be, spoiler alert, it's probably the best one, not just of Season 1, but of the show at this point. The Keys of Marinus. I shall see you guys next time. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Nick Payne Extra YouTube channel. There for later. And also the first story to have complete... Thank God for reconstructions, usually found ones. Yeah. Well, it's all interesting, but most of it's in... Shut up! I don't know what it is, but I like Mark and the fact he's just probably just saying that because they're just people in this. Oh shit.